Steph Curry hits a three-pointer and looks away before it even goes in the basket. Michael Jordan hits 6 of it and throws his shoulders up as if to say, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Tiger Woods is walking down the 18 at Augusta National. He's dressed in black pants and red shirt, and everybody knows what time it is. This guy from one of my favorite Disney movies is playing the piano effortlessly. What do they all have in common? They've entered the flow state. You know that state where you're competing and it seems like you're having an out-of-body experience because everything is coming naturally to you. You're not even thinking about this high level of competence and the high level of skill that you're putting on display. And everyone in the crowd, everyone who's come to watch you compete is in awe of who you are. My name is Rick Williams, better known as Coach Rick. And in today's video, we are going to talk about how to enter and stay in the state of flow, the flow state, the zone, as some people have called it. I hope all of you guys have had an opportunity to experience a state of flow or the flow state at some point in your career. But don't worry, if that state, if that idea of not being able to miss or not being able to fail or not having to put mental effort into what you're doing from a skill standpoint, if that has eluded you to this point, don't worry. You stick with me for a little bit and I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know to really master the process of learning. It's one of the most important skills you'll ever learn is how to learn. I don't know if you guys ever been in class and someone is learning multiplication tables, and what's the first thing you're thinking to yourself? Like, when am I ever going to use this? I'm never going to use calculus. I know some of you guys have said that before. I know I've said it, and you're absolutely right. I'm going to tell you as an adult, a lot of the things that you learn in high school or middle school, you don't necessarily need later in life, but here's what you do need. You need to learn how to learn. That's what we're going to do today. I got 4 points for you guys. To assist me with these points, we're going to pull up a very popular, well-known concept in the world of psychology. This is one of my things I love to do on this channel. I like to take things from other subcultures like psychology or movies or music or pop culture or anything I can get my hands on. I like to take it from there and bring it here to help you guys get better at youth sports. It's one of the founding principles of HEB coaching. So today we're going into the world of psychology. Noel Birch, 1970s, works for a place called the Gordon Training Institute. The basic premise of this institute is designed to help people understand relationships, understand performance, understand personal development. Noel Birch put together what's called a competence learning matrix that is world-renowned and known for one of the best ways to understand what's happening in our minds as we start to ascend from beginner to flow state. We're going to break that down in today's video. The first step is unconscious incompetence. In short, it basically means you don't know what you don't know. This is a place where we all have been. And here's what I want to encourage everyone to remember. Not only have you been there several times, but I encourage you to be there all the time. One of the principles of our program is to always get better. And so in order to always get better, you have to always assume that there's more for you to know, more for you to learn. So the idea of not knowing what you do not know is a wonderful place to be. You've heard this said in a different way. Put it in the comments if you've heard this before. Ignorance is bliss. And most of the time when people mention that ignorance is bliss, they're talking about it from a way that almost discourages it. Like, to be ignorant is not really cool, and to be blissfully ignorant is just kind of like naive, and people don't want to be blissfully ignorant. But here's what I want to encourage you to absolutely embrace: the idea of not knowing. The very beginning of a journey is oftentimes the best part of it. Every step that you take is like there's something in it. You take one step, you learn something. You take 2 steps, you learn something. There's so much learning in that beginning process of anything. You heard this said before, like, start ugly. Like, don't want to know everything before you start a particular task. Whatever your goals are in life as an athlete right now, do not wait until you know a lot before you try. Just go out there and say, I don't know what I don't know, but I'm going to have big eyes. I'm going to have open ears. I'm going to be super attentive, and I'm going to try to learn as much as I possibly can. So that's my first tip to you guys. Embrace the fact that ignorance really is bliss. It's a very happy state to be, to say, you know what? I don't know. I could make the argument that those are the 3 most underused words in the history of mankind. Everyone is afraid of saying that. Someone asks you a question and you try to figure out a way to sound like you know what you're talking about. Sometimes it's okay to say, I don't know, because that's the beginning of learning. I have taught myself lots of things. I am self-taught in basketball. I am self-taught in piano. I am self-taught in cooking. I am self-taught in golf, in chess. I love to learn. And every single time I take on a new project or a new skill, I start in this beautiful, blissful place. Embrace ignorance is bliss. Second level that Noel Birch's matrix tells us about is conscious incompetence. Now, this is different than unconscious incompetence. Last stage, we don't know what we don't know. We have to embrace this idea of ignorance is bliss. Well, in this stage, we become very, very aware of just how little we know. This happens very early on in the learning process. I remember when I first started learning the piano, I was like, okay, I know it's going to be hard, but I remember telling myself, start ugly. So I started. But once I really learned just how much there was to do, and I started to be able to play a scale, but then I looked at somebody else play scale with two hands or be able to play, the blues scale. I was like, this is unbelievable. It is unbelievable how much there is to uncover when it comes to learning, not just the piano, but anything. This awareness of, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's a very frustrating place to be. It's a very confusing place to be. And when it comes to giving up, this is the space where that happens most often. If you find yourself in that state of conscious incompetence, you are fully aware of the thing that you do not know. My advice to you is to embrace frustration and make sure that you do not give up. There is a beautiful moment coming on the other end of this difficulty. I want you to think of it this way. When we were kids and we were riding our bikes uphill, what did we have to do? You get on a bike right now and there's a steep hill. What do you have to do to get up the hill? You gotta pedal. If you saw a kid riding up a hill with his feet off the pedals, you'd probably go over there and give him some instruction, right? This part is supposed to be difficult. And when you get there, you just gotta keep going, because we all know what it looks like. You get on the other side of that hill, you get to put your feet up and kind of have some fun and coast downhill. Skill development is a lot like that. You have to go through the hard part of climbing the hill, being frustrated, being made fun of, being picked last, wanting to quit. If you can withstand that, there's beauty on the other end. You are on your way to the flow state. And our YouTube channel, we are definitely at that conscious incompetence place. We know exactly how much we still have to learn to bring great videos to you. And we're learning every day. We're having fun. We are on a goal to get to our first 100 subscribers. So if you're enjoying this content, if you think it's helpful, go ahead and hit that like button for us. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Every week, we're going to bring you something that helps you always get better. All right, let's get back to the learning. Third step, when it comes to the competence matrix, AGB coaching that the matrix talks us about is conscious competence. So we've made it through that beginning phase where we don't know where we don't know. We've embraced that ignorance is bliss. We actually had a lot of fun there. Then we got to this place where most people quit, where it's like, man, I'm very, very aware. I'm very, very conscious of all the things I'm not good at. Everyone on the team seems to be better than me. This is frustrating. You've made it through that. And now you got some skill. You got some game. You're starting to hit the ball 300 yards on a golf course. You're starting to connect on 0-2 pitches. You're starting to dial in the strike zone. You're starting to hook the lane from the furthest arrow in bowling. Whatever the craft is that you're trying to learn, you're starting to figure it out. And it's a lot of fun. Here's what happens. Something sneaks in: complacency. When you become consciously competent and you are aware of the fact that you are no longer picked last, you are no longer one of the beginners or one of the worst at a particular craft. If you're not careful, you could find yourself extremely comfortable there. So here's my advice to you. Stay hungry, stay humble. Those two spaces are a space that the AGB mentality encourages. You have to at all times remain in a sense of like, okay, I have this sense of confidence. There's nothing wrong with being confident. That's the goal. But confidence requires humility. I'm so confident that I'm capable of telling you there's still an unconscious incompetence going on. There's still something I do not know, and I'm hungry to continue learning. If you can maintain hunger as you become more and more capable and more competent, guess what? You're on your way to the flow state. And here we are, the final stage. The way that we get into the state of flow is to be unconsciously competent. What does that mean? It means I don't even have to think about the skill that I'm performing. My mental energy is not being spent on the skill. I'm just doing it. I've done it so much. You've heard it said, practice makes perfect. You've heard it say, practice until you get it right. Well, this is the space where you practice to the point where you can't get it wrong. This is the 10,000 hour rule at play. You've put 10,000 hours into your craft. This is deliberate practice at play. Not only have you put 10,000 hours in, but you've put in 10,000 hours of structured, method-based practice that you can point to and say, I had a great mentor. I had a great teacher. I committed to going through the ignorance is bliss and the frustrated space when I was aware of what I did not know. And here you are. You are now arrived at an unconscious incompetence. And that's what it looks like when Steph Curry shoots the ball and looks away. He knows it's going in because he didn't use any brain power for it. His body told him, hey, that's the same thing you've done 3,000 times before this game started. It's a beautiful space to be. I've been there a couple times. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I wish I could be there more often, especially in some of the crafts that I'm involved in now, like playing careers behind me. So I find myself in that conscious incompetent space very often. I think I'm addicted to it, actually. I just love it. I love getting into something and being like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. And then later I do know what I'm doing. And I'd like to continue to add to my skill set. And that's the best part about this matrix. It's all repeatable. You can do it for one skill set and then have the confidence to reset yourself and say, all right, I got a new job and I don't really know everything there is to know on that job. That's a little intimidating, but I do know that I am capable of learning. I do know that I've climbed this matrix before and I can do it again. It's an awesome, awesome thing to learn. All right. So I want you guys to take this quick video from AGB coaching and apply it to your game and give yourself these conversations. Talk to yourself, whichever state you're in. First of all, acknowledge which state that you're in. They're all great states. It all means that you haven't given up yet. Anytime you're in one of these spaces, it means you're learning something, and that's awesome. But you want to continue to ascend. You want to continue to climb and get to a place where you do it so often, you do it so well, you don't think about it. Where does your mental power go then? You say, all right, well, I'm at a place now where I am so good at what I'm doing, I'm not thinking about it. Where should my brain power go now? Well, this is my favorite part about teaching people how to achieve ultimate confidence. When you have ultimate confidence, you spend the rest of your time helping other people. That is one of the coolest things that we can do as athletes, coaches, or parents. We get to the place where our craft is so intact, our ability to be successful is so regulated, it's so normalized, it's a part of who we are on our everyday basis that we can spend our mental energy looking for cues in which other people need our help. It's a beautiful process. Now, here's the coolest thing about that process. That leads to more for you. The more you help others, the more that seems to add value to your life. People like being around people who are helpful. And you say to yourself, well, I'm really having a hard time helping other people right now. The reason why, because you're spending most of the time helping yourself. And that's okay. But keep going, keep climbing the slider. You'll get to a place where you're in a state of flow. You take that state of flow, you turn around and you help somebody else, help your teammate. If you're a coach, you should be applying this to all 10 of your players. If you're a parent, apply this to your young athletes at home. Okay, so there you have it. Now you know all 4 states, that unconscious incompetence, where you don't know what you do not know. Our advice to you is to enjoy ignorance is bliss. Then you move on to the state of conscious incompetence. This is the most frustrating place. You're going to want to give up. Embrace frustration. Love it. Love learning. Then you're going to move on to conscious competence. You're going to start to develop some skills. You're going to know what's going on, but now you got to stay hungry and you got to stay humble. And then finally, you enter that unconscious competence. You are Michael Jordan. You are Steph Curry. You are Tiger Woods. You're doing whatever it is that you want to do, and you're doing it at a state of flow. And all you got to do now is turn around and contribute to team humanity and help somebody else. That's our video for the day. Thank you for engaging. We will see you in the next video. And until then, always get better.